Welcome to the House of Bloom. I'm your host, Clayton Bloom. Vince McMahon has left and may possibly be coming back. Today, let's talk about should he, would he, and what I would do. Now, there has been many rumors with Vince McMahon trying to make a return. Him saying that he's heard some bad advice and feels like he should come back. There are also those same rumors going around that the wrestlers in backstage and also crew members are not thrilled with the idea of him coming back, that morale has been at an all-time high, and they would like to keep it at an all-time without him. Now, many would ask if I am for this or against this, and I like to say I'm on the fence. If he was going to work with them and there was no new scandals coming out, I think it would be a lot easier. It would be a lot easier or a different answer if Vince Mc or if Triple H wasn't doing as good of a job without him. That could change the answer. But instead, we have Triple H just nailing it out of the park, bringing back wrestlers, making people happy. The profit of the company is still doing very well. I think they pretty much are heading towards an all-time high, and there are supposedly rumors of there being two more women that have been found out. But I like to play today's as devil advocate. What in a what if world? What if all those weren't a factor? What if the women were coming out? If Paul or Triple H was only doing a mediocre job, or even still doing a good job like he was? I feel like there would be a chance that Vince McMahon could come back as a final storyline. And I'd like to give my thoughts of how I would feel how that would go down. Many of us may remember on the WrestleMania 23 on April 1st, 2007, the Battle of the Billionaires with McMahon versus Trump. McMahon had Umaga on his side, and Donald Trump picked Bobby Lashley, and the loser would get his head shaved. In the long run, obviously Trump wasn't going to shave his head, so McMahon went ahead and shaved his head for storyline. Let's say that Vince McMahon made a return, said that he wanted to take back over, for Triple H to come out and say, hey, no, sorry, stocks are high, the board has talked, they don't want you to come back. Do that all in front of the audience. Vince McMahon says, no, I own majority stock. I'm pulling my weight. I'm pulling rank. I'm coming back. I'm going to run the show. So this leads to them making a bet. They each pick a wrestler. Same as the previous match with him and Donald Trump. Whoever's wrestler wins one or two things. Vince McMahon's wrestler wins, gets to come back and take control over his WWE company again. But if Triple H wins, Vince McMahon has to give over half of his stock, making Triple H now the primary stockholder of the company. They go ahead, agree to the terms. They each go their own way. Yeah, Vince McMahon maybe do talk here and there, come back a couple Raws later for him to talk to Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley has recently, 2 weeks ago, was released from his WWE contract, supposedly by storyline. I haven't heard that he needed surgery or anything. This is strictly the storyline. So it actually plays into my fantasy, so to speak, right now. Been saying, hey, I lost last time with the Battle of the Billionaires. You owe me. How about you wrestle for me? If you can wrestle for me and you can win, I can make sure that you're back in the WWE. Bobby Lashley now playing more of a heel character. It kind of fits him. He's like, you know what, I want back. Why not? I don't really care who runs it. I just want to break heads and be the champion again. And I can do that with no matter who's in charge. So he agrees. So there you go. You got Vince McMahon's champion as Bobby Lashley. Upon that, you show Triple H talking to various wrestlers. Wrestlers that he's been known to work with before or been friends with. Have him talking to Randy Orton if he's back. Or even fake a phone call. Either way. Have him talk to Edge. Have him talk to Dolph Ziggler with his days of back with DX. Maybe even Ciampa Ciampa. Just to I don't know, kind of be playing games about who could his champion be. And you always have Vince McMahon right there to grind the gears. Like, see? And another one you couldn't talk into being your champion. They don't want to work for you. They want me back. I'm gonna win by default. You leave it all as one big giant mystery. I think that as this not being a main event match, but a high tier match, you could have a mystery challenger. You're now at WrestleMania. Vince McMahon with Bobby Lashley in the ring. Going, hey, come on, Triple H, show us who's going to be your champion. Who's going to try to take on Bobby Lashley, or could you not have gotten anybody? Huh? Triple H comes out. Nobody's beside him. Vince McMahon's still grinding his gears. Like, see, I knew you couldn't find anybody. All those people that you talked to, and you still couldn't get yourself a champion to take me on. None of them want you. Then Triple H can cut a promo about like, look, I wasn't talking to those wrestlers to be my champion. I was doing my job. I was talking to the wrestlers, making sure that they were being taken care of, if they liked what was happening, if there needed to be changes. I was doing my job, something that you have neglected to do. Why you don't need to be in this company anymore. The moment I made that bet with you, I walked away and I made one phone call, one phone only. That leads to my other part. What if you let Braun Breaker keep his belt until the takeover right before WrestleMania? Goes ahead, just barely lost. I'm not quite sure who that would be, but he does just recently lose his match. So whenever Triple H says, I made one phone call, you then chime in to have Braun Breaker come out, newly released of his NXT champion, somebody that could be a new face of Raw, or not the face of Raw, but a new challenger, just something to stir up the box and have some new matches on Raw. Somebody of Bobby Lashley's caliber could still take the loss and still be built up to be a good competitor down the road. It really wouldn't phase him, especially when you're taking on somebody as big and tough and has as good of a wrestler as Braun Breaker. You go ahead and you put Braun Breaker over. Next day on Raw, introduce, maybe even go one step farther. Let him come out with the Steiners. Go ahead and point out his Steiner lineage. Going, look, I'm here now on the main roster. I don't need to use that fake name to get over anymore. I'm proud to be a Steiner. I am now a Steiner, and I'm here to let the Raw on notice that I'm going to be climbing this ladder and taking the belt. You go ahead, you just went ahead and put Braun Breaker over, building up as a major competitor. You could slip him right in towards the IC belt and build him up a little bit more on Raw. Whatever. But at the same time, somebody of his caliber taking on somebody as Bobby Lashley's caliber, Bobby getting that loss doesn't really affect him that badly. Then you go ahead, whether it's the next day on Raw or the following week on Raw. I'm thinking more the next day on Raw when you're doing the thing with Braun Breaker. You maybe have Braun Breaker come out like after this. It lets Vince McMahon say goodbye. A lot of his stories and information has been coming out is a lot of controversy. I'm not going to argue that, but I will argue he is a guy that changed wrestling, and a lot of us are watching because of him right now. I think it's not much to really ask for him to say, thank you for watching, thank you for the good times, goodbye. He should get a chance to say goodbye to the audience. And then you could have Triple H coming out, go, look, I hate to see you leave, but you did need to leave. But for a first time, we're going to announce 1 year in advance who is going to main headline next year's Hall of Fame. And you let Triple H ask Vince McMahon if he will headline the Hall of Fame ceremony next year. And induct Vince into the Hall of Fame the following year. He gets to say goodbye. He gets a nice big induction for next year in the Hall of Fame, which I do hope they keep it towards a minimum. It is something that I do like seeing, but I feel like some of the wrestlers get a little bit too rushed for whoever's headlining. While yes, the headliner should get the most camera time, well, why do you need 6-8 Hall of Fame inductees? Cut it down to 4. Have 3 subpar ones. They each decent and deserve it, and get a speech. And the main eventer is a nice big long speech. I would prefer them to get this, have a nice long speech and say goodbye. And you can have 2 versions of it. You can have a edited one for TV. Show that maybe on Raw or Tuesday or something, but have one live streaming on Peacock that it doesn't matter if they run a little bit over. I think that's the only fair thing to do. A lot of these wrestlers deserve have their time to shine, and that is the time for them to shine. Well, what do you think? That is my take. That is how I feel. Maybe you agree, maybe you disagree. I don't know. In the long run, I just want to talk about this. I just want to hear how you feel. As long as I'm happy, you're happy. As long as you're happy, I'm happy. That's all that matters. You just got to be happy. But if you like this, please hit that like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you next time on the House of Blum.